We get introduced to a new villain in this episode, Puke Face.
God.
I love that. What are you talking about? Puke Face. It's great.
I mean, we get to learn all about Jason. I mean, Tim. Oh,
What are you talking about? This is Tim Drake's origin story.
is it though, Dave? Is it?
It's not. It's definitely not. It's definitely, yeah. If you're familiar with, when they took Tim Drake's name and kind of like went, that's not exciting enough. Let's take Jason's origin and kind of incorporate it into this, I would say. Right?
Well, yeah, we got to talk about that. Like there are legitimate creative reasons for doing this.
True.
But we'll have to dive into that when we actually get into the episode. However, before we get started tonight, Dave.
Okay.
I had one of those bathroom thoughts tonight before the show.
Okay.
When you're standing in the bathroom and you just you think deep thoughts.
Okay. Oh, I thought maybe you were sitting, but okay.
No.
Standing?
Standing. No, standing.
Okay.
I realized that with it, for those of you who don't realize that on this YouTube channel, on the playlist tab, all these episodes have been painstakingly curated in order as we've done them. Sometimes because I go Dave and I slap him upside the head and go, Dave, fix that. But I realized that when we are done, we will have the definitive watch order of the entire DC animated universe in the playlist.
Right. And that's what we're here. That's what DC Fan-imated is for. That is a deep thought. That is a deep thought to think about. The fact that once we're, get through all this, we'll have it's all in order. Obviously, we're now back in Gotham. We're now with the new Batman Adventures, or aka season 3 of Batman the Animated Series, episode 87. And it is interesting too because, and of course, hi to Eric. Good to see you. Good to see you. And then of course, I'm a film junkie.
Yeah, mama.
Yay! So good to see. Yeah. Well, of course, we had not one but 2 Thanksgiving dinners with each other. I am full. I am surprised I'm still awake. So much tryptophan. I mean, my God, I had 3 different Thanksgivings. So, and happy Thanksgiving to you, Scott. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there that's watching either live or, watching otherwise.
Bourbon pecan pie.
Oh, never been a big pecan pie guy. Not even a big
You
pumpkin.
said pecan. Oh, I have to slap you across the internet just for the way you pronounce that word.
Oh, did I say it wrong?
Well, you didn't say it wrong. You just didn't say it my preferred way.
Oh, gotcha. What's the preferred way?
I say pecan.
Pecan. I say okay. Yeah. I get it. I'm more of an apple pie guy.
Hey, I respect that. Apple pie is really good, but when we're talking about Thanksgiving,
it fits. Both of those fit more, but I don't know. I just when it comes to pumpkin and pumpkin spice, I don't hate it, but I don't know. It just never grabs me. So anytime there's pie, if there's apple, give me some of that apple, throw some ice cream on it.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. Do you have to have the vanilla ice cream with it?
It complements it, but on Thursday on actual Thanksgiving where we were at, I was like, throw some ice cream. And I got 2 big giant scoops, and I was like, oh boy. It was generous, but man, it was like I just wanted one little, throw it right on the top, let it melt a little bit, but it was boom, and I was like, holy crap! After eating all that, it was quite the feast for sure.
I had this bourbon pecan pie was homemade, and the pecans were soaked in bullet bourbon.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about right there.
I got a buzz off the pie, man. I got a buzz off the pie.
Wow, I didn't even. Yeah, that's awesome. God, did you wash it down with anything?
By the time I was having the pie, no. I did enjoy my Thanksgiving dinner with a nice Pinot Noir. I'm gonna,
nothing wrong with that. That can complement it. Sure.
Yeah.
And, let's see. It says Eric said apple pie, pumpkin cheesecake. Oh, interesting. Never had pumpkin cheesecake.
I have had pumpkin cheesecake.
I never had that. Yeah.
It's good, actually. To Eric's credit, I would prefer pumpkin cheesecake to pumpkin pie.
I probably would. That sounds awesome. I'll have to try that. Mama Film Junkie, let's get a pumpkin cheesecake for at least Christmas time. Anyways, all right. We went off on our Thanksgiving tangent, and we're all thankful for you for watching DC Fan-imated and listening and all that stuff. It's always a lot of fun to do this on Sundays.
What day of the week is it, Dave? I don't know.
I don't even know either. Every day has felt like I don't know. But no, we appreciate you guys listening. This is always it's always fun. It's always a fun way to end the weekend talking some animated stuff. But yes, we are going to be introduced. We already got introduced to Tim Drake just randomly.
He just showed up.
He just was there, and it was like, I remember, just you watch it, you go, that's not the same Robin. That's not the Robin I know. That's a younger Robin. That is not, But then, of course, thinking about like how it's now the new adventures, or what is it? The new Batman adventures. I always get those mixed up. It's the fact that it's like you kind of go in, well, maybe it's just because it's different now, and maybe that is Dick Grayson, but definitely is not. And this is when we get introduced to Tim Drake.
Yes. Now, as we've joked about how it's basically Jason Todd's origin story, I'm surprised they didn't have him stealing the tires off the Batmobile.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the weird thing is, if we do a little bit of comic book history here, Jason Todd had two origins. He had a Dick Grayson clone origin story, like he worked at the circus, and that was all pre-crisis. It was post-crisis when he became the father of a 2-bit crook, and famously stealing the tires off the Batmobile. That's how he gets caught by Batman and that kind of thing. Tim Drake, however, in the comics, he got introduced early on in the storyline Batman Year 3, he really makes a splash in the story arc A Lonely Place of Dying, which was a follow-up to A Death in the Family, because the whole point is that Tim Drake figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne after Jason Todd's death. And he realizes how that's affected Batman. He basically comes at Batman going, Batman needs a Robin. Yeah. Because without a Robin, you're going a little loco. There's a new kind of mean in him. He's angry and he's hunting. And so you can't do that in the animated series. Like, you can't have Tim Drake being introduced by figuring out who Batman is because Robin died. So I can understand taking Jason Todd's origin story, a good standalone origin story, but making it Tim Drake, because Tim Drake in 1997 is the Robin in the comics.
Yeah. I mean, and like I was saying, I was going like Tim Drake. He's a smart guy. He's definitely a smart guy. Got a lot of, and when it comes to this episode, I mean, we see some of those smarts, so it's not like they didn't leave that out. He is definitely smart. Even throughout when we see him as well. But yeah, it is interesting, and you're right, because you can't just kids show, guys, kids show. You can't just go, yeah, Robin dead. He died. You can't just like do that. Isn't there like also a storyline where he was there when he witnessed Dick Grayson's parents die? Was he like in the crowd?
That's the Batman Year 3 arc. Okay. That was when Tim Drake. Funny enough, you should mention it. I have that issue.
There it is.
I actually have the first appearance of Tim Drake ever in comics. And it's so weird because it is like the cover's all about the Graysons dying, because they took Tim Drake and made him important later, so much so that actually if you get a trade paperback of A Death in the Family, it comes with A Lonely Place of Dying added on. Nice. you get both stories in one trade paperback.
That's it. Yeah, I remember that, and I remember when they had the Robin series throughout the 90s. I remember I would collect some of those, and that was full on Tim Drake. And I remember I even had a figurine of him too, and all that. I don't know. I remember there was a figurine line that had all different kinds of Batmans throughout different eras.
It was so cool.
Yes, it was. It was so great.
It
was such a great upgrade. Yeah, it's such a great upgrade to the Robin costume.
Yes, I mean, he had
Yeah.
like the little ruffles on the
Yeah.
sleeves, and
Uh-huh.
they weren't the short shorts. He had like the full tights. It was the
Exactly.
black with the yellow under. He had the best Robin
He
costume,
did.
wasn't
He
he? Yes.
definitely did. He definitely did. But yes, so when we start off with this episode, we don't, yeah, like I said, it's not Tim stealing, tires off the Batmobile, but he's stealing donuts from a cop,
Well,
apparently.
he is stealing the cops' tires.
Yeah.
They're
Oh yeah.
right here. They're right
Yeah.
here.
There you go. So hey, that's a good point. Didn't think of it like that. I like that. I like how you went with that. Because, let's face it, cops and donuts, that's always the old gag, the old joke. And at first you just see him holding a package. But then what I like too is like right off the bat, I mean, obviously 22 minutes, they got to show that, oh yeah, he could do some acrobatic kind of stuff, just like that one other guy, right?
Right.
Yeah. So we see him like get away from him, fire escape, doing all that stuff. And then we find out he has a batarang.
That is such a cool aspect
Okay.
of his
Yeah.
character in this episode, is
Mhm.
that he found a leftover batarang and can use it, and uses it like a boomerang.
Yeah.
That's so cool, because so many times when batarangs get used, it's basically just a throwing star.
Mhm.
So when it does actually get used as a boomerang, it makes me giddy.
Yeah, it does because I mean it's in the title,
I know,
battering.
right?
It's like it's supposed to do that, but yeah, most of the time it's Batman's just chucking it somewhere, or I mean, obviously it's like you said, more Ninja Star Light. Someone's about to shoot somebody, could throw it right in that barrel, or just do something like that. But yeah, it is really cool that Tim is that crafty where he can just throw that thing and just use it and of course traps the cop. There's some like laundry that's hanging up, and he uses the batarang to just trap the cop to get away from him and everything. And then of course we get these goons outside of this apartment, and then we come to realize that, oh man, Tim's living by himself here.
Right, because they're looking for his dad. And
Shifty.
Shifty Drake, uh,
Steve.
which is funny because I didn't remember I remember they didn't use Tim Drake's comic book dad's name.
You did that thing with your camera again, something, the gesture that made the bubble come up again. I wonder
I
what that is.
I really want to know. I really
Somebody
do.
mentioned it. I think somebody sent a message, or I don't like on Twitter. I don't know. It's something with the way you're moving your hand. I don't know if it's you're doing a thumbs up. I don't know. Your camera's
Like I'm sending hand signals to my
yes, I think it's
camera.
something that has to do with that. I don't know. Do a thumbs up real quick. Nope.
Nope,
Nope. That's
no.
I don't know. Yeah, it's very interesting. But I
Just
remember
like
somebody was
I
like,
am signaling to my camera.
yeah, it's very who knows. Anyways, that's beside so yeah, we see Tim Drake's apartment. Obviously his dad's not there, and even the guys are like, geez, this is worse than my kid's room. And he of course is obsessed with Batman, because who isn't, and he has a bunch of pictures hung up on the wall and everything. And then of course he shows up, and then we realize, yeah, the package that he is holding is of course donuts. And well, he uses the donuts to get away by just because they're jelly filled or cream filled, whatever they want to do, and just right in the face, because that's what you do.
I wish the donuts I bought actually had enough cream or jelly in them to be able to do that.
If you were to squeeze an actual cream filled donut, it would just in your hand, and it would just be like it would
Well,
just
and
be
then
a
and if it was jelly filled, they don't put enough jelly in the middle of
no.
the
They don't put
donut.
enough jelly to do that.
No, I'm very.
Man,
Hey, 5 stars to whatever bakery or donut shop in Gotham is making those donuts, because you're doing it right, folks.
they're
Thank you
doing
for
it
your
right.
service.
Exactly. So he gets away, and then of course slides down the railing of the stairs. Again showing that, oh yeah, basically foreshadowing that this kid's going to be able to hold his own when it
Well,
comes
not only
to
does he just slide, he
yeah,
actually grabs like a mat to
yeah.
like give him the sliding capability. I thought that was cool. Like it because I'm sorry, if you jump on a banister, you don't just slide down the banister. That's not how that works.
You need something.
You need something. So I love the fact that he grabs the mat. But going back to what you said earlier about how he's obsessed with Batman, that I love, because that feels more like a nod to the real like comic Tim Drake,
Yeah.
and I like that little touch there.
Yeah, it is nice. And then, of course, who does he run into when he goes outside? Puke face. It's a funny. That's one of the things I remember like the most is like him always calling him puke face, which it's funny. It's
I
fine
mean,
when you're a kid, especially. It's
and it's not wrong either. I
yeah.
mean,
His face is looks like half of it got puked on, of course.
uh,
But yes,
though, since we've talked before, this is actually our first time seeing Two-Face in the new look.
yeah,
With the redesign. I feel like of everyone, Two-Face is the one that gets affected the least
yeah.
by the redesign. I mean, he just looks like Two-Face,
Yeah,
just
he looks
with
like
less
Two-Face.
lines.
Yeah, it's not as detailed as it was once before, but yeah, it's not like his eye color changed like the Joker and all this, and different. Yeah, you're right. His image did not get affected that much when it came to the transitioning to the Batman adventures, the new Batman adventures. But yeah, but that's the first time, and then of course, Robert Mull back doing it. Richard, sorry, God,
Respect
I know.
those who are not with us
I know
anymore.
he passed away recently and everything, and I'm like, I totally just well, it started with an R. I was at least close with that. Sorry, but anyway,
You were closer than you normally are. I'll
true.
give you
That's very
I'll give you
true.
that.
See, you got to give
But
me credit for
it was a little
that.
bittersweet watching this
Yeah,
episode, realizing there's another one who's not with us anymore.
I know, man. I know. And then there was it was getting passed around again this weekend, but they were saying like Mark Hamill talking about he's not going to do Joker again because of since
Kevin, yeah.
yeah, which we already heard before, but it was getting passed around. I guess somebody asked him again, and it was getting passed around again. But yeah, it's like it's understandable, and you got to love that. You got to love the relationship that those two had.
I love the fact that he quoted the man who killed Batman when he said, without Kevin,
Yeah,
there is no punchline. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, good pull.
Good pull,
That's
right?
a great episode.
Yeah. So then of course they go to the docks because that's what you do. You take the kid to the dock. And then this is where we hear the first time we hear about Shifty Drake, his dad. And then there's like notes that Tim has from his dad that has a key. And basically it's just saying like, yeah, the heat's on, got to get out of town. Sorry. And so then we get that little backstory right there when it comes to Tim's dad a little bit,
Yeah.
when he comes up.
And I just love it's like there's just part of me wants to go, Tim, why do you have it in your pocket? I mean, just I
That
mean,
seems like that should be stored in a secret box, like in a shoebox, in like the floor or the wall,
yes,
behind a
yes.
poster, maybe a Batman poster. Who knows? That should not be in his pocket.
No, especially when you've got to know that Two-Face's goons are gonna come like looking for you. I mean,
Exactly.
seriously.
Yeah, but they gotta speed the story along,
Yeah.
So it's got to be on him. And then of course we have Batman that shows up. Or well, this is after obviously like when Two-Face is leaving and he does a coin flip and he's just like kill him, So they're gonna kill the kid. And Batman, of course, intervenes. I don't know how many times that I write that in my notes. Batman intervenes. Batman intervenes. It's like a common thing. It's a common thing when we're talking about a Batman episode is Batman intervenes. It's just what I go to because that's what he does. That's
It's
what,
right. He just swings in and kicks butt and takes names.
exactly. And then and he gets a little beat up in this one. He gets one of those. What are those hook? I always forget what those are called. A hook with that's on like the cables that you lift things with. That what is that called?
A crane?
Is it a crane? I thought it was like, is that what is that specifically though? Because
I
I thought
don't
like,
know. I know what
okay,
you're talking about, and I
yeah,
don't know specifically
okay.
what that is. But dude, in Gotham, do those things get thrown around a lot?
They get thrown around a lot, and Batman gets one right to the chest on this one. Eesh. And then, of course, they start, the goons start firing at like barrels of oil or gasoline, whatever the hell, it's something flammable. And so
Of course, if it's in a barrel, it's gonna catch on fire.
it's gonna catch on fire, and it blows up, of course. But Batman, quick as he is, even though he's a little beat up, grabs Tim, dives into the river, and then we're good. Obviously, they're good. But then I love how like when they get up, he's just like,
Oh.
yeah, yeah, just doing that. Kevin Conroy.
Yeah. The funniest thing is still watching like Kevin and everyone else. Like you can still catch video
Yeah,
watching them like make those noises. It's
yeah,
so funny because they're
it
like
is.
really up on the mic and they're like, uh, uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh.
No, it is funny when you see those. Yeah, if you haven't seen those, look them up, or with anybody
Please.
that does it.
Oh,
Yeah, but then of course it's like, all right, well, how are we gonna get out of there? We're sitting ducks here, and then of course just hit the button. There's the bat boat right there.
new
Just
design for the Bat Boat.
looks
So
great.
I like it. I like it.
I like the design.
It's more okay. Do you feel like, because the Bat Boat in the first two seasons just looks like a speedboat,
Yeah,
basically. This one, does it remind you of the Bat Boat from Batman Returns?
a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I could see that. I could see that. And like we also see the Batmobile in here. Did we see the Batmobile before with the
No,
new?
this is our first introduction
Okay.
to the redesign of the Batmobile.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the original animated series. That one's just come on. That's
It's
iconic.
iconic. It's so iconic. This one, I mean, it looks like a car.
Yeah, it
You
looks
know,
like a car, and they got the little fins in the back. I mean, I think they were trying to even try to model that a little bit like the Keaton Batmobile. A little bit, I would say, a little bit, maybe.
a little
Yeah,
bit, but
yeah.
it once again, but it reminds me. I mean, Batman has had so many Batmobiles. Like you've got some that go like.
Oh, I have a whole book.
I know you do.
I have that Batmobile book, and it's crazy how many different Batmobiles there are. It's so great.
Yeah, so I don't have hard feelings against
Yeah,
the redesign, but still, that original design is just freaking like
yeah, it's a work of art.
it's a
It's a work.
work of art. It really is.
Yeah.
So,
But then, of
but
course,
yet,
them in the bat boat, and they start, obviously, it's like, what do we do? And autopilot home. Yeah, that's right. He already had all that
autopilot.
in your face, Elon Musk. He already had all that. Batman already had all that in the 90s.
Or the 30s or the 40 or
Yeah, I know.
whenever this takes place.
I know he's had it like forever. He was ahead of the curve. But obviously, we always have that classic Batman moment where somebody is in the vehicle with them and they're headed towards like a wall, a rock wall. So they go, we're gonna crash, But then, of course, at the last minute, a doorway opens or something like that. It's a classic Batman little
It
trope.
goes all the way back to 89 for me.
Yeah. Yeah, with Kim Basinger doing that,
Yes.
that scream, that great scream that she had. She was a good scream.
She was a really good screamer. That's
Yeah, she was like I mean, obviously we always talk about scream queens, and that's always about horror. But man, when it came to at least a superhero genre, she had an awesome scream for sure. But yeah, we get that moment, and then I love how Alfred, is there to greet, thinking that it's just gonna be Batman, and then when the thing opens, and Tim's just like, and he's like, "Oh dear,
oh dear."
yeah."
He's just like, really? However, to their credit, though, there's nothing to, except for Alfred being there, there's nothing to give away Batman's identity yet.
Yeah.
Which is funny when Tim totally like ghosts them and runs upstairs. And that's when he figures out Batman's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, I know. It was just like, it's like, come on, like, how did you? And I love how he's just roaming around the Batcave, and he's talking about how much he's dreamed about the place while Alfred's working on Batman. Obviously keeping the cowl on and bandaging him up, and then of course he's like, and it was like. He's holding like those, it's like little black balls that are just like, what are those? And then it's just like, yeah, don't touch the explosives. So you just have them like right there. I mean, I guess nobody else is going to be showing up, but I just love how they're just like right there in a pile,
I also like how Tim goes,
yeah, like, up, yep, I'm not going to touch those. And then of course he sees the Robin costume and asks what happened to that guy,
Now, it's interesting, though, because clearly, in my opinion, based on the design, as you can also see from the key art for our stream, it's that's literally like the little kid costume.
Yes.
And so I'm curious, like, So is the idea that he memorialized Robin by putting on the little costume because probably Dick, for some reason, still has like, his college size costume that we saw
I
in the
like
first 2
that.
seasons?
I like that. I didn't think about that because my thing was just like, well, maybe they have to give him a costume somehow, but that makes a lot more sense if you want to like, I mean, obviously, who knows if they actually put this much thought into it. We're just a couple of nerds that are going, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So,
cannon.
exactly. So we're trying to do that head canon ourselves. But yeah, I actually like that. Maybe Dick actually has the costume with the green pants or something, and like, yeah, the one that fits him obviously when he was in college. So that might be it. And this is like the first costume right there. So, but I wanted to use that. I love that shot though. When I was looking for
Oh,
the
it's a
thumbnail, great shot.
great shot. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because once again, they're making adjustments because normally when you see a Robin costume in a case like this, it's usually it's Jason's costume because it's literally it's a memorial,
Yeah.
for Jason. So
Mhm.
the idea that in this universe, Batman is sentimental enough to like hang up Dick's, first costume in a display case
Mm.
after he's left for some reason, which
Yeah.
I like the way they do that. Like they're very subtle of, yeah, Dick's not here anymore.
Yeah. It's
We're
like,
not
okay.
gonna tell you why.
We're not gonna let it be known. But obviously, the way this episode ends, it's like, ooh, goosebumps. Anyways, so and then of course, this is where we get to the point where we uh doesn't no, that's not when that happens. No, but this is where Dick actually goes up the stairs, and and then we get the oh dear again when it comes to
Right.
and he's walking around and nothing right off the bat says anything. He's just walking around going cozy, and it's like, all right, this is cool. But then, of course, he gets into Bruce's office, sees the money, sees a watch, thinks about taking it, and then looks around and then sees Bruce Wayne. And then who shows up? Dun, 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 Batgirl.
Batgirl.
She just
Yes.
comes out of nowhere. She intervenes this time.
Batgirl intervenes. Yes. Now as in Holiday Nights, now voiced by Tara Strong.
Tara Strong,
And
right? Do we know
and
who's voicing Tim? I didn't look.
his first name is Matthew.
Okay.
I can never pronounce his last name. It looks Italian-esque. It starts with a
Okay.
V. I know that. But I do know that the first name of the voice actor, his name is Matt. He was a kid.
Okay, so
So
it wasn't anybody that's like, because it's like his voice kind of sounds like I maybe heard him in something else, but he might have done a lot. Who knows? I don't know if he actually looked at his IMDb or anything.
I
But
didn't look at his IMDb because like all I've ever known him from
yeah,
is being, Tim Drake.
yeah,
So
okay. But yeah, so she intervenes, and Batgirl grabs her, yeah, and then we come to find out that yes, Tim did actually take the money in the watch, and I love how he's just like, like, but Batman's like, yeah. Don't worry about it. It's like, obviously he's not going to show a bunch of emotions, but then naturally he's going to ask him why Two-Face was after him, why he's after his dad and everything. And then of course we get another display of Tim using a batarang, which is pretty cool, cutting off some of the rock that's just that hangs down all creepy like that looks like icicles.
you mean stalactites?
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I did not know what that. I see. This is me learning something tonight.
Okay.
I never knew that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, I need to take you on a field trip, Dave.
Ooh,
Apparently,
yeah.
but yeah,
We're
the
not
ones
going
that
in any caves. Fuck
uh,
that. I've watched some of
oh
those cave. I've watched some of those cave videos where it gets really tight. You ever seen those? Makes you very uncomfortable, claustrophobic. Oof, gives me the
yeah,
willies.
the ones that hang from the ceiling are called stalactites. The ones that
Stalag.
come up from the floor are stalagmites.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard of stalagmites, but I don't think I've heard of stalagmites, even though they're relatively sound the same. Okay, I was always wondering. I always like the rock icicle looking things, but they're not icicles. I don't know. But I like how he does display his batter. Hey, that's for the lay person. That's what.
School failed you, Dave.
Yes,
School failed
I
you.
don't remember that. I don't remember that in what would that be? Geology?
That would be geology. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
science. That'd be geology. I
yeah,
mean, for me, it was elementary school.
yeah.
But yeah, when you come back to Alabama, I should take you to DeSoto Caverns.
There
At
you
least,
go. That'd be
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Okay,
They do a
as long
light
as it's
show
not.
in the caverns and everything.
Oh, okay. That actually sounds pretty cool. But yeah, he displays that, shows that he could use that use a battering great. And then of course in the note he still has the note, and I just love how convenient. It is convenient,
You
but
know,
you have to move the story along. It's because the key made an impression perfectly. Batgirl is like, look, it made an impression, and immediately Batman is like, Gotham Airport.
of course, because only Gotham Airport has that key.
Exactly. That's how
That
smart Batman is. Come on.
God, that feels so Batman 66. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it does. It really does. And then all of a sudden you have, I mean, you literally have Two-Face showing up at the airport with his goon.
Just walking around. I
No
mean,
disguise, no nothing. Just walks up to the locker, opens up. There's a bag in there, two canisters, one blue, one red, and then they walk out. Well, no, they don't walk out because then we have Batman intervening and he comes flying in, which I love. I'm not making fun of the fact of that. That's the note I always use when I write my notes. Well, this time I actually wrote Batman and Batgirl intervene. So there's
exactly.
that.
Which,
Just
by
be
the
grateful.
way, let's rewind a little bit
Okay.
because you got to catch up with the detail that Batgirl's in Wayne Manor. So at some point, Batgirl now knows who Batman is.
That's right. They never really good point, because the last time we saw her, like at least when it came to the end of season 2, it was still we just had that moment where we had Bruce and Dick and then Barbara, and they were saying that whole thing like I don't know, they were doing that talk, whatever they were saying. I forgot what they were saying, right?
Well, no, that you're thinking about the end of Shadow of the Bat Part
Okay.
2. Because remember,
Okay.
she showed up in Batgirl Returns. That was
Okay.
the end of season 2 with her and Catwoman and Robin.
That's right.
Batman was off in Europe.
Okay. That's right. And then that's right. Duh, that's right. I got those two confused. The ending of those two confused.
Yeah.
Was she also in Sub-Zero, right?
Oh, you're right. We
Yeah, that's what
completely forgot.
Eric just put that in the
Yes,
chat.
Sub
And I was like, oh
Zero.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because that's not season 2. That's the gap. You
Yeah,
know.
that little gap right there. Yeah. So there you go. So thank you for that, Eric. But yeah, so now it's like, all right, so now Barbara knows. They never really go over that, do they? They just kind of just do it.
Well, they will. Later.
They? Okay.
Yeah, they
But
do.
that's right. All right. Okay. Okay.
I
I'm trying to
yeah,
remember.
offline. I can even tell you the name of the episode because once again, nerd.
Yeah.
I remember the names of the
And I'm
episodes.
and I'm sure when you name the episode, I'll probably something will ring in there, maybe. But
Oh,
then
I'm sure it will. Yeah.
yeah, and then of course we get this cool little chase sequence, Batman chasing after Two-Face, driving that, that luggage car or whatever that you see at airports. And Batman almost gets ran over by a plane.
Not a reindeer, but a plane.
But a plane, that's right. Because it tips over, of course, and he's stuck underneath it, and it's on the runway, plane's about to, but it's Batman. We get that grappling hook, which I it's not the same one. It's not the one that grabs like this. It's just like a bat that sticks sharp and sticks into the plane, and then he just pulls himself out.
Yeah. We discuss, and
Yeah,
you
we
got
have.
you, and you guys can go back and listen to our discussion on holiday nights where we really nerded out about the differences of the grappling guns.
True.
We've had this discussion before.
We've had it. Yeah. It's pick your poison. They're both great.
Yeah,
you
they
know,
really are.
different noises. That's what we talked about, how it sounds different as well. And then of course we get Tim having a nightmare, obviously. And I like how he wakes up and he sees like a painting of like Robin Hood or something like that, like on the wall. Is it Robin Hood that he sees, right? Holding a bow and arrow.
Oh yeah, that's Robin Hood because
Yeah.
that's actually like depending on the version of Robin's origin story, Robin Hood is actually one of the suggested reasons for where the Robin nickname comes from.
That makes sense. So then of course we get Batman and Batgirl that are in the the Bat Cave and looking up Stephen Shifty Drake, and then we get mentioned that, oh yeah, there was a John Doe that showed up in the river that has his fingerprints, and then we get
In
this.
Metropolis.
Oh yeah, oh that's right, it did say
It
Metropolis.
was Metropolis
Oh,
River.
that's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then of course we have that moment that you have with something like this where Tim is behind them, and then he's got a tear in his eye. That means he's never coming back, right? Never says dead, right? He
Never
just
says
says never.
dead. No,
Yes.
no. John Doe in the river.
Yeah.
He's not coming back. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that he did.
Yeah. They don't want to mention that, because again, kid show, right?
Good show. Yes.
Kid shows, standards and practices, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
Anyway.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even though it seems to be less so this season,
Of
but
course, they upgraded a little bit more where it's like, okay. I mean, they say, like, Two-Face did say, kill him,
yeah,
didn't
he
say
did.
that?
He did.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't saying the K word, I thought, for a little bit there. But anyway, so we get that. And then of course we get a broadcast. I mean, this is 66 Batman-esque too, where it's just like, yeah, you take over the broadcast, and then he's like, talking about apocalypse that's going to be happening, showing the liquids that are going to mix together, and then I like how he says, like, you're going to be two different Gothamites or whatever the hell, the dying or the dead or something like that. I don't know. He said something like that. And
The ones that are dying.
Oh yeah,
the ones that are dead.
Yes.
It's a little. That's the one criticism I'm gonna levy at this episode is this scheme, this plot of Two-Face is a little over the top.
It is, but they needed to do something. The main focus of the story is the Tim Drake origin, I guess you could say. And then of course Tim knows where he's hiding out at some theater. I forgot, it was like the Janus Theater or something like that.
Yes. Okay. Dave,
Uh-oh.
do you understand?
Oh,
Do you
there's that name.
Is that name? Yes, that's
Yeah.
important.
What is it?
Do you understand that? You don't understand,
No.
do you?
No.
Okay. Okay. Janus is from Greek mythology.
Ah.
That is the have you ever seen the image of the literally it's two faces, one looking this way, one looking
Yes.
that way? That's Janus because he's the god of beginnings and endings.
Gotcha.
That's why it's called January.
That makes sense. There you go.
Because we're looking at the year that we left behind and we're looking forward to the year that is coming. So it's a two-faced character. That's why Janus Theater. Yeah.
Perfect. That makes sense that he's hiding there, because anytime when it's Two-Face, it always has to have to do something with Two-Face too, right?
Twos, yes.
Always the twos.
$22 million at 2 a.m.
And then, but Tim wants to go, and obviously Batman's not going to let him go. That's the way it is. And then I like how Alfred's like, he's not one to debate. It's like, just gotta let it be. But we all know what's gonna happen. We all know that.
Reminded me a little bit of like the end of Robin's Reckoning Part 1.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, because when he just like took off to go find what's his name, and
Tony Zuko. Yeah.
Tony Zuko, yeah. And then it didn't want Robin to come. Yeah. A little bit like that. But he took Batgirl this time, of course. So they head over there. And so then of course we get them intervening.
This really is just going to be hashtag Batman intervenes.
Yes, I know. I'll just create a new hashtag for that, because it's always that Batman intervenes. I like it. That's the way we should write an episode just called Batman intervenes. And it's just a bunch of moments.
No, that's got to be the new Batman movie.
There you
Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman intervenes.
Yes, I like it. See? Yeah, we're coming up with something here. So then, of course, we get like a little fight scene that happens in the theater, and then of course we get we get the reveal of Tim Drake when we see a bus. He's on top of the bus, and then we see him in the costume and everything. Well, we've already seen it, which is funny.
I know. I actually would have preferred if the first time we'd seen Tim Drake Robin would have been him showing up at the theater. Like, that would have been a little bit more impactful instead of I guess I was calling, how did he get there?
Yeah.
He just did.
He just did. But I do like the fact that when Batgirl was like swinging in, they use her theme song.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't believe I just did that. Okay.
I can't
I
believe-
know Batgirl's theme.
yeah,
Thank you very much. Right. And she has one.
she definitely does. And then, of course, this is where we're gonna come in to the fight scene after everything's like happening, and we get Tim showing his moves right there, even though he gets clocked pretty good.
Oops.
Oops.
Excuse me.
Oh no. I love that. It's just like, great. Not again.
It's your kind of show, puke face. A double feature.
Haha.
Oh,
Ow.
ow, with a crowbar.
Yeah. Tough kid. Taking that one to the face. I know, with a crowbar, I just put that.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about that. Wow.
Let the kid go, Two-Face.
Make one move and I'll wring his feathered little neck. It's gonna matter in about 1 minute.
Plenty of time.
Oh,
Throw those kills.
I love it though because that's a payoff because he
Yeah.
has been using the batter right all episode.
Exactly. There you go. Let the music.
Oh, contact.
I love this too. It's like, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do.
Two-Face is just getting his ass handed to him.
Oh, fuck you.
10,
Countdown.
7,
The
6.
dreaded countdown. The mixing of the fluid. Oh yeah, just unplug it. Or pull the wires out. There you go. And of course, she has to do the.
Can we go home
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. We did it. We aced him.
Did it.
I set him up. You take him out. 1, 2, huh, Batman?
His eyes right here.
Oh. Whoa.
Oh,
Ugh.
yeah. But then I want to like. Oh, we have to watch.
Oh, I love this. Yes.
So great. I like the music right here. The music sounds. I like the score right here.
It's so
You work
serious.
with me, kid.
Yes, it's very like
Follow the
I'm
rules.
turning this kid into a
Rule number
soldier.
1, you give me everything you've
That
got.
you got.
Rule number
Yeah.
2,
2. Then you give me more.
Yeah.
then you give me more. And rule number 3,
Ugh.
I make the rules.
I make the rules.
And then
Watch out for that last one, kid.
goosebumps.
It's a killer.
Dang. There's Dick.
My word.
Hey, no one can be a boy wonder forever.
Nice. Just a good way to end it right there.
It
What
is. I do, however, feel like it's a little rushed.
Yeah.
That it would have been cool because they talked about Dick not being there, and this is like Tim becoming Robin. I probably would have preferred if maybe wait one more episode before Dick shows back up. But
Yeah.
once again, there's only 24 episodes in this season. You want to get some Nightwing in this season, which you're gonna get. So yeah, I understand. Like, hey, Dick's here too.
No, I get what you're saying. They could have let it. They could have, like one more episode, maybe even 2. They could have, but it is a good way to end it. I mean, especially when you hear what's his name's voice again. I forgot.
Oh, Lauren Lester.
There it is. It's great to hear his voice again. And then of course, like we're all just going. If I remember back then watching that episode, going, is it Nightwing? Is it going to be happening? Is it going to be happening? Is it going to be happening? It's like one of those things where you kind of go, I mean, obviously, because I have the little,
Yeah, you have the artwork there where like we knew it was happening because he was
it's
there
part of the artwork, and it's just like, oh, yeah, but it's
with
a cool way to-
with the mullet and everything. Jeez,
yeah,
God, that mullet.
freaking that mullet, man. I was always wondering, like, because I remember at one point Chris McKay was going to do a Nightwing movie, which I was like, oh, please do it. I was like, there was always a question, is like, would he have I don't think he'd actually have the mullet, but maybe long hair or maybe not. I don't know. What would you prefer? Like, do you like the mullet, the long hair, or
I
the
hate
mullet?
the mullet. I hate the
Yeah.
mullet. I didn't like it when Superman had a mullet. I didn't
Oh
like
yeah,
it when the
it was a
mullet
very 90s thing.
is such a 90s thing. And the mullet,
Billy Ray,
it,
goddamn you. Sorry.
oh,
It was probably partially because of him.
it probably was.
Mhm.
And he can take his achy breaky heart and his mullet and he can just leave it back in the 90s. I'm
Hell yeah.
sorry.
Ugh. But that's it. That's the episode. That is Sins of a Father right there.
It's kind of cool
Sins of the
though
Father.
that this season really does expand and focus on the supporting cast, like the Bat family, more so than the first two seasons did. So it's kind of interesting that they made sure really quickly we got Batgirl, we got Robin, we got Nightwing, because we're going to use them all this season, which is kind of cool.
It is.
I like the fact that because we had 85 episodes and a couple of movies, very Batman focused, that, this season is, hey, let's look at the other characters.
Yeah, why not? And that's one of the great things about Batman is the Bat family. I mean, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people when it comes to what's happening with the DCU now, obviously we're getting another Batman and we already have a Batman currently, and it's just kind of interesting because we've had so many iterations of Batman live action. And now that we've heard that with the DCU, with James Gunn's DCU, there's going to be a focus on more of the Bat family. I'm not sure if what Matt Reeves is going to do. That's what's going to be interesting. Is like we've heard that there's possibly going to be a Dick Grayson in the next version, so it'd be kind of interesting how he takes it. But it seems to me like when it comes to what's happening in James Gunn's DCU, obviously if it all happens, is the fact that there is going to be a Bat family already currently existing, which
is cool. Because maybe a very large Bat family isn't my preferred.
No, we don't need it that much. Yeah,
but it's still a valid, part of canon, and I'm okay with that. But I'm always been more of a give me Batman, give me Robin. Batgirl can show up every once in a while. That's cool.
I think just growing up with the 66 show and when she would show up every once in a while, when we were like watching the opening and all
for the Bat cycle,
yeah,
to drive by, yes,
Batgirl's here, So it's just I think that's like maybe that's why we kind of have that because I feel the same way. It's like give me Batman, give me Robin, Batgirl, everything, but I don't need like a ton. But if you can make it work, make it work.
Make it work. Yeah.
So what do we got next week?
We're going back to Metropolis.
Oh,
yep. I know. We only get to get it's like we tease you with a little Gotham, but then we head right back to Metropolis. But next week it's going to be action figures.
Action figures. Does this have to do with the what's a villain? We can't say it. We're not gonna say it. I'm trying to remember what this one is. Hold on.
I remember this one. I remember this one very well.
Of course.
Of course I do.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm like, of course, like when I look at the thumbnail.
Oh, the thumbnail tells you nothing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna see the return of a certain suit, but I'm like, I don't know. All right, well, I'll find out. So
okay. So let's go ahead. Let's. This is where Scott likes to tease Dave.
Okay.
Which suit returns?
Oh yeah, it's the spacesuit.
Oh no. Okay, that's the problem with that thumbnail. That thumbnail does not belong to this episode.
What?
That thumbnail is from the Main Man Part 2. Oh no, Part 1. Main Man Part 1. That's the Main Man Part 1. That has nothing to do with this episode.
Well, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, sorry. The thumbnail's really not going to help you.
It's not going to help me. It's definitely not going to help me because I was like, oh yeah, we see the return of the spacesuit. Nope, that's not it. Whoop, don't start.
Okay,
playing.
I'm going to give you one little hint. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can. Let me help Dave out here. There we go. There's your hint.
What? Oh, okay. The Kryptonian. It's only one other suit, right? The Kryptonite suit, right?
Well, no.
Oh.
That's you're trying to figure out who the villain is. I'm
Oh,
giving
yeah,
you.
okay, is it somebody that has that in his chest?
Yes.
See, look at that. Okay, your camera did it again when you put your thumb up. That is so weird. That was pretty cool because you were like, "Yes." I don't know. That is so interesting what's happening with your camera.
I have got to figure out how to turn that off. That's really annoying.
Yes, yeah, it's interesting because then you freeze up, but it is kind of cool though. But, anyways, guys, action figures will be headed back to Metropolis next Sunday, so make sure you watch that and then come by and we'll talk about it a little bit. So, yeah, I think that's all we got for this. Great, I like this episode.
A
It's
fun episode. I think it's a
fun
great
episode.
introduction for this version of Tim Drake. I
Yeah,
like there being this really youthful, smart ass Robin. It's cool. I mean Dick was a smart ass, but Dick was also college.
yeah.
Like this is a kid.
This is a kid being a smartass to an adult, as opposed to college. That humor was like a little bit different. It was smarter sarcasm kind of thing, and
Yeah.
Tim's more of just like he's just gonna blurt out whatever. So, all right, guys, that's pretty much it. This was a lot of fun talking about this episode. Go ahead and plug away, Scott.
Well, of course, you can find me on X at ScottDC27, on Instagram at McMurlin, and on Vero at Scott McClellan. You can find my podcast, the DC Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found. We're on Vero, Facebook, YouTube, with the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. That does include, we have dropped it's been about a week now, but we dropped our latest episode of Batman Scene by Scene, talking about the capture of the DA by the Riddler. So go check that out. But we have the return on patreon.com/Squadcast Media of Squadcast Movies. And it's kind of funny because this was recorded back in February. But you can finally listen to Tim, Brent, and Ray discuss Spider-Man 3.
Ooh, that's gonna be a good episode.
I know, right? I even got them to watch the editor's cut.
Good. That's actually it's better.
It's better. It's better.
It's definitely better. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you spending some time with us. Smash that like, thumbs up, subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Film Junkie Live, 6 p.m. Pacific time. We will talk to you later.